Hey everyone, it's Luke from Jettle here. Today we're going to be running through how to answer an extended response question for business studies. But before we begin, make sure to click that subscribe button so you're notified of any new content. So the structure of an extended response in business studies is slightly different to a typical essay. Okay, so you're going to begin with an introduction and you conclude with the conclusion. But you have a theory and a case study paragraph for each point of discussion you want to talk about. So if you choose a strategy, say price skimming, you're going to have a theory paragraph on price skimming, and then you're going to have a case study of how price skimming has been used in a practical business example. And depending on how long your paragraphs are, depending on how confident you are with your timing and how fast you write, you would usually have between 3 or 4 of these strategies that you choose. So in all, it's going to be 6 or 8 paragraphs, depending on how many you choose. So before you begin writing your extended response, it's essential to highlight the key directive term, whether that's evaluate, so you're making a judgment. It might be recommend, so you have to provide reasons for a certain strategy. It might be analyze, where you have to provide implications of a certain strategy, the positives and the negatives. A discuss is a similar question where you're going to have to provide the negatives and the positives in order to reach that top mark band. You should also always begin with a plan. You can take the first page of your writing booklet to plan out what strategies you're going to use and what case studies you're going to use, because in a 50-minute or 1-hour response, by the time you might get to that last strategy, you might not remember the case study you wanted to use or the different points you wanted to use for that strategy. So it's important to plan early so that if you need, you can come back to it towards the end of that response and the quality is not diminished by that exam fatigue. So in the introduction, it's essential that you answer the question in your first sentence. You have to state whether it's talking about business strategies and influences, or it's talking about how processes contribute to performance. You have to answer that question in the first sentence. So the marker knows exactly what your point and your thesis essentially is going to be throughout that entire response. What's the theme of your response going to be? And then you elaborate on that in your next 1 or 2 sentences, and you continue to build on this overarching theme or message that's going to run throughout your response. Then you're going to take 1 sentence per strategy you use to introduce it and discuss a potential benefit related to the question. This is really important so that the marker is informed of what they're going to be reading about. They want to know what strategies that you're talking about immediately. And by providing a benefit, the marker knows that you're able to link this strategy to the question and they're in a positive headspace right away. Then you conclude your introduction by introducing your case study businesses. You might say something like, the positive effects of these strategies has been noted by the case studies of Apple, QANTAS, and Rolex. A theory paragraph is typically the longer of the two. You're going to begin by stating your answer to the question. State the strategy that you're talking about and how its benefits are related to the question. You might then take 1 or 2 sentences to elaborate. You're going to introduce the strategy. Define what it is, how it is implemented, and then the benefits that it produces. Typically, you're going to have 2 benefits that are related to the question. And you might take 1 or 2 sentences to explain them, depending on the strategy and how long your sentences are. And then you're going to conclude by linking back to the role of the business function you're talking about, whether that's cost leadership within operations or increasing sales within marketing. It's really important to show that you know how this strategy and its benefits are then related to the overarching role of business. You begin your case study paragraph by introducing your business. You might say how QANTAS has used relationship marketing to increase brand awareness and market share. Immediately, you're not only letting the marker know of your real-world example, but you're explaining the positive effects that this strategy has had related to the role of marketing. You then take 1 sentence to explain the situation, how QANTAS' relationship marketing is used for their frequent flyer program. You only take 1 sentence here to avoid excessive description, which takes away from your analysis or evaluation or judgment. After providing your description, you're going to provide a benefit of this strategy that the business has experienced, which is typically a qualitative benefit. Then, in your last sentence, you provide a statistic or numerical figure which supports these benefits you have mentioned. After you have written 3 to 4 combinations of a theory and case study paragraph, your conclusion is typically 3 to 4 sentences in length, where each strategy is allocated 1 sentence where you summarize its benefits and provide an example of the case study which demonstrates these effects. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to see our most comprehensive content, please visit jettle.com and we'll see you in the next video.